All right, Anchor Center, November 208, uniform. Ready for departure out of Crooker Creek, runway 34. Roger that. November 208, uniform. Cleared for takeoff, runway 34. Hope you like flying. Beautiful day for it.
One has to realize the potential of, what you read and find more in it if you possibly can.
I wrote this over COVID, and it was a time when I think for me and for many other people, there was you're sort of balancing these dual fears of feeling isolated and also that the people who are around you may pose a direct threat. And that confluence of those two fears, in retrospect now, I think very much informed the story and the conflicts in the story going forward, even if they didn't necessarily do so consciously at the time.
No. I also don't feel well.
I don't care, Winston. Suck it up.
No, it's like I feel really bad. Like I got a bad feeling.
But what's interesting is when I've seen contained thrillers like this before, like Lifeboat, all you can see is water. Or you can't even see the sunset in Lifeboat because it's black and white. But you can't even show land or anything. What a brilliant concept for a film to be stuck in a very small claustrophobic space, but to be able to cut to such cinematic, amazing landscapes.
So we had a very small space. The beauty of it was that it takes place over these Alaskan Alps, which are really stunning and really spectacular, and at the same time kind of intimidating and scary. So although it isn't a plane, it sort of feels open, and the vistas are spectacular, so it has a big scope.
Keeping it grounded in reality is really important to both of us. We never wanted you to feel like you weren't actually in that plane with those people. And anything we did that drew you away, we knew was going to be a misstep.
For me, the best thing about acting is when you don't have to act. When it's a documentary, when it's just like kind of happening to you. And a lot of this film is probably how I would react to being in that situation.
Oh my God, we're so screwed. Oh my God, we are so screwed.
Calm down.
Oh my God.
You never really know until you arrive on set, what it's going to look like. And I thought that the plane would maybe be built so that they could pull out some of the sides and the back. And when I arrived, I was like, wow, no, this is the real deal. It's an old Cessna, just perched up and on hydraulics, and there's very little maneuver for the cameraman to kind of work in. So very, very quickly, we realized this is going to be quite intense and tight.
There's no air in here.
Yes, there is.
You gotta let me out of this. You gotta let me out.
I can't do that, Winston.
There's no air.
Did you see where the knife went?
We just kind of go around with the camera because you can only do so much. There's a couple opportunities where we had multiple cameras, but it was interesting. We got to know each other well quickly.
When I read the script, I thought this film's great, and it's gonna hurt.
We're gonna get out of this. We're gonna get out of this.
It would be virtually impossible to film this in a real location. Impossible. You couldn't do it. It would cost a fortune and would be so time-consuming. Flying around in Alaska someplace, you'd be there long enough to get eaten by the local bears,
Because I've seen one other movie that almost entirely took place in a plane of that size, and I was really disappointed with how they executed. So Mel and I watched it together. It was a movie that I brought to him, and he's like, this is terrible. And I'm like, yeah, I think we can do a lot better. And the problem was, I think they probably did theirs all blue screen or green screen, and we did ours on a volume.
To get all that, to get magic hour for all day, to have that volume wall and be secure in it, because the image was so good.
The way that they shot the plates that are in the volume around us, they didn't just, I would have thought they put 4 cameras on top of a plane, north, south, east, and west. They put 8 turned on their side, but because they put the cameras on their side, there's a lot of latitude up and down. And then we're all up on this gimbal that's 30 feet up, and the plane can dive and it can, totally ascend.
All right, Winston, we're almost there.
The only real limitation with the volume is that we had 250 degrees. So we would have to put the plane in different orientations. A lot of times we would go 12 o'clock or 6 o'clock with the orientation on the plane. And working within it, as long as you stay off critical focus on the volume itself and don't get moire, it looks fantastic.
How does it feel? Treat me like you do.
Yeah, look, we shot the whole movie in 22 days. I'd never done that before, you know, and we literally like shoot 10, 15 pages, sometimes in a day, depending.
22 days on what might be considered a shoestring, with other technical advances at our disposal that neither of us had ever used before. But now we're kind of, you know, we learned. We went to school on this one.
There absolutely was an intentionality to keeping it very contained within the plane and its surroundings. It wasn't actually to make the production more manageable, in my mind, although I think that was very much an added benefit. In a lot of ways, keeping the story contained makes crafting that story more challenging, because you don't have the luxury of necessarily cutting elsewhere when you need to. However, I felt very strongly that it had to be set in a very contained environment, because doing so puts the audience in the same position as the characters in the movie, insofar as, like, the characters are sort of trapped in this plane and don't have the luxury of getting a break from the threat within the plane, so too does the audience.
It really puts you on your mettle. And particularly in this era of filmmaking, budgets are smaller, time is less, and you have to achieve excellence. You know, you got to go in there and MacGyver the whole thing, you know, just kind of, how do we fix this? How do we make it work? How do we make it look big? How do we make it compelling? And, you know, everything has to be there.
Oh, that's fucking great. Yeah, okay. That's cool. We can work with that.
The thing that made it work for me was that you're all driving at the same goal, which is kind of amazing concept. It's the first time someone's thought of a concept like this.
Have some fucking decorum, you hear me? I'm trying to have a nice time. Yeah. Don't you dare fucking disrupt that.
No, I hear you, I hear you.
And then the other actors, Mark and Michelle, are so dedicated, and we all wanted to make the same movie and wanted to put the same amount of effort into it. And everyone's going at 100% all the time, and I think we were feeding off each other's energy.
And I think I had the right team around me, and great actors, and all capable of great subtlety and all understanding of humor and absurdity.
I do this for fun, I do this for free. Titty twister, you like that?
Because it's a completely absurd situation, if you think about it, if you look at it on its face. But, you know, it was fun to sort of explore those kinds of ludsies.
Oh, cool. Did we land?
Yeah, we did.
Good job.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. Joblo remains an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.